Much love and a belated birthday shout out to the LA Kings captain as we talk Anze Kopitar on this edition of Locked On LA Kings.
You are Locked On Kings, your daily podcast on the Los Angeles Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Kings fans, welcome to Locked On LA Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On LA Kings your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. I'm Eddie Garcia, your host of Locked On LA Kings. I've worked in sports media for the past 30 years. Also one of the co-hosts of the Puck Podcast, a weekly NHL review show that's now in its 20th year of existence. And I'm also a passionate LA Kings fan for over 30 years. Happy belated birthday to the great of the greats, LA Kings all-time great player, Anze Kopitar, the captain of the LA Kings, turned 38 years old this past Sunday. Now, certainly that's not old in terms of being a human being, but also not young in terms of being a professional athlete. Kopitar will head into his 20th NHL season this year. Only two other active players have been with their current teams longer. Can you name them? Probably the two biggest names in the sport, and that would be Sidney Crosby of the Pittsburgh Penguins and Alexander Ovechkin of the Washington Capitals. And then it is our Anze Kopitar. Now, not as big of a star as those other two, but still one of the greatest players of his generation. And I've said it many times, I believe the greatest LA King of all time. Now, there's certain opinions on that, and you can have your opinion as well. For me, though, when you're talking greatest player of a franchise ever, it's someone who needs to be drafted by that team, play his entire career with that team, and then retire as a member of that team and hold a bunch of records and things like that. And that all describes Anze Kopitar. He will be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He will have his number 11 retired by the team. He'll get a statue outside Crypto.com Arena. Will this be his last NHL season is one of the big questions we are asking going into this year. We shall find out. Some are saying they believe it will be. Others are not saying that we'll wait and see. I think Anze Kopitar, for at least publicly, he's kind of said we'll see at the end of the season. Regardless if this is the last season or not, it has been an amazing career. Maybe not as flashy as a Sidney Crosby or an Alexander Ovechkin, but Anze Kopitar has always been great. Certainly when you think about Anze Kopitar, you think of steady, reliable, consummate professional, and knock on wood, but over those 19 seasons that he has appeared in those games for the LA Kings, he is almost always there. He's been incredibly healthy. He's played 80 games or more 12 times in his 19 seasons to this point. In his last 4 seasons, he's missed a total of 3 games. Again, reliable, consistent. When you think of the greats of all time, that's certainly an aspect of their game that has to be there. You know, what is it? Your greatest ability is your availability. And Kopitar has always been available for the Kings. Certainly one of the greatest two-way players of his generation, without question. A guy who can compete and excel at all aspects of the game, 5-on-5, power play, killing penalties. So I decided it was fitting for today's show to have an Anze Kopitar appreciation show. Now, when he hangs up the skates, I'm sure we'll have something like this again to talk about his career. But no need to wait. We can appreciate his career and what he's done and all the great moments in the moment, as he's been if not the best, one of the best LA Kings of all time. There's no question about that. So I've compiled some of the greatest moments in Anze Kopitar's career. We will do an obligatory top 10 list because it's a tidy way to kind of bundle all things together, but there's no rules here. There's no, debating this. That's not what this is all about. It's just basically compiling some of the greatest moments of Anze Kopitar's career and kind of talking about it. So without any further ado, Let's look at one of the top 10 moments of Anze Kopitar's career. We'll call it number 10, and we'll start kind of where it all started with Anze Kopitar's rookie season, October 6, 2006. It was Anze Kopitar's first ever goal in the National Hockey League. He did it against the rival Ducks in Anaheim as a 19-year-old, skated right around a future Hall of Famer in defenseman Chris Pronger, and then beat probably the greatest goaltender in Ducks history, John Sebastian Jaguar, on a beautiful move, showing the patience that has been Anze Kopitar's calling card and the skill outlasting the goalie, putting the puck into the net from a tough angle. It was classic Kopitar, using his body to get position on a player, shielding off a defender with his frame, and then patience. Kopitar rarely ever rushes things. Even on his first career NHL goal, he showed that patent patience that he always has. He's got that internal clock, in his head. He knows exactly how much time he has, how much he can wait to get the better angle or get that defender or goaltender out of position and put that shot exactly where he needs to be. He showed it all in his first ever NHL goal, and it was certainly a great sign of many, many great things to come. How about number 9? We are going to celebrate a combination of moments on the ranking here, and that would be on March 22nd of 2018 and on February 28th of 2023. Anze Kopitar's 2 career 4-goal games. His first 4-goal game was in Denver against the Avalanche, March 22nd, 2018. And none of his goals were into an empty net, which is very rare for a 4-goal game. The hat-trick goal was classic Kopitar, the patented backhand shot past Colorado goalie Semyon Varlamov. Kopitar may have had one of the greatest, I guess still does have one of the greatest backhand shots of anyone in his era. Again, showing the patience, making it look so easy and effortless as he flips it into the top part of the net on his backhand with the goalie sprawling out on the ice, helpless to defend it. And then on February 28th, 2023, in Winnipeg, the Kings fell behind 2-0. Kopitar scored to make it 2-1 on the power play. Down 3-1, Kopitar would deflect in a point shot to make it 3-2. Kopitar then wins a faceoff in the Jets' end, wins it and passes it back to the point, and then deflects the point shot into the net to tie the game at 3-3. That was the hat-trick goal. Kopitar then scored his 4th goal in the 3rd period on a rare blast from him, a slap shot after a turnover. Don't see many Kopitars go in on the slap shot, but that one made it 5-4 in favor of Winnipeg. The Kings would go on to win the game 6-5 in a shootout. That was the second of Anze Kopitar's 4 career goal games, but you might remember that game for a different reason. That was the game where right after it was over, we found out the LA Kings had traded Jonathan Quick to the Columbus Blue Jackets, and the mood of the locker room changed very quickly. I remember Anze Kopitar being interviewed after that 4-goal game, and he looked like, he had just lost a family member or something. It was, I guess in a sense, he kind of did, not to be too dramatic about it, but most people will remember that 4-goal game because of that event. However, on today's show with this topic, we are remembering Anze Kopitar's 4-goal game for the 4 goals that he scored. Again, he did it twice in his career. At number 8, it occurred on April the 28th of 2014. Anze Kopitar scoring 2 third-period goals, a minute 15 apart, to help the LA Kings beat the San Jose Sharks in Game 6 of the Stanley Cup playoffs opening round. 4-1 was the final, setting up a deciding Game 7 in San Jose, which, of course, the Kings would go on to win, complete the reverse sweep, and take the next step towards what would eventually be their second Stanley Cup title in 3 years. Just the 4th time in Stanley Cup playoff history, a team has rallied down 3-0 to win a best-of-7 series. And the Kings to this day are the last team to accomplish that feat, not only in hockey history, but in any North American major sport as well. And one more, number 7 on the list would be April 17th through June 13th, when Anze Kopitar led all LA Kings players in playoff scoring with 26 points, 5 goals, and 21 assists in 26 playoff games, a point per game through the postseason. culminating in the Kings winning their second Stanley Cup title in 3 years and the second in franchise history. That playoff run highlighted for Anze Kopitar by a 3-assist game. That was in game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals against the Ducks. Kings win that game 2-1 in overtime. And despite leading the Kings in points that postseason, which was one more point than Justin Williams had, it was Williams and not Kopitar who would be named Conn Smythe Trophy winner as playoff MVP, but obviously Kopitar could have easily won that as well. But the playoff run in 2014 for Anze Kopitar, certainly one of the highlights of his amazing career. Up next, more great Kopitar moments, including some major award wins and milestones reached. That's next on Locked On LA Kings, your team every day. College football is back, and honestly, there is no better way than the energy of the tailgates and being in the stands to follow the game. The only downside, trying to get tickets, endless keys, hidden fees, and prices that jump up at checkout. That's why I use Gametime. The app gives me the advantage. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets and the best prices, and there are no surprise fees. When you see the price, that's what you're going to pay. I pull up the Gametime app in just a couple of taps, and I'm ready to buy amazing tickets and get amazing deals. We're talking your favorite college football games for low as $25. Right now, $24 for USC's home opener on August the 30th. The app made it super simple. I could even see the exact view from my seat that I was buying. Honestly, it's faster, cheaper, and less stressful than any other way I have bought tickets. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's the promo code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. We are celebrating the career of Kings legend Anze Kopitar just after he celebrated his 38th birthday. We're also going to appreciate the Kings captain while he is still a member of the LA Kings. It's kind of like my friend Doug, the Ducks fan, told me one time. He's like, why do we say all these amazing things about people after they die at their funeral? We should all get together while they're still alive and celebrate them while they can enjoy it. It's a great point. And not long ago, we had a birthday party for my mother-in-law and her sister. My mother-in-law turned 90, her sister turned 80, and it was amazing. And people said amazing things about him. We had a good time. And I'm like, that's the kind of thing we need to make sure we always do with the people that we care about. We're celebrating Anze Kopitar on this show today. Checking in at our number 6 on our great Kopitar moments would be 3 dates, because we're lumping some of these together. June the 22nd of 2016, June the 26th of 2023, and June the 12th of 2025. What do these 3 dates have in common? Those were the dates that Anze Kopitar won his 3 Lady Byng Memorial trophies, given out to the player that best exemplifies performance and sportsmanship. He and Wayne Gretzky are the only 2 LA Kings that have won this award 3 times. They're tied for the most in franchise history, obviously each with 3. Kopitar has 348 career penalty minutes. Marty McSorley, just as an example, holds the Kings record for penalty minutes in a season with 399 in 1992-93. So in one season, McSorley had 51 more penalty minutes than Anze Kopitar has had in his entire career. If you combine the last 5 seasons worth of penalty minutes for Kopitar, it's 55 minutes. On average, he commits 18.3 penalties per season. That's 0.2 penalties per game. He had 4 penalty minutes all of last season. And of course, this is a guy who plays a lot. He's very productive, and clearly he plays a very clean game as well. Truly a gentleman on and off the ice, and that's certainly part of the story for Anze Kopitar. He has been an amazing representative of the Kings organization in every way, and those 3 Lady Byng trophies that he has won certainly is an example of that. How about number 5, May the 30th of 2012, opening game of the Stanley Cup final in New Jersey against the Devils. Game tied 1-1 in overtime. Justin Williams makes a backhand pass into the middle of the ice with 2 defenders on him to a wide open Anze Kopitar, and he would not let that opportunity slip by. He scores on future Hall of Fame goaler Martin Brodeur to give the Kings a 2-1 win and a 1-0 series lead. Eventually, the Kings, of course, would go on to win their first ever Stanley Cup title in franchise history, but Kopitar started it all off with that huge goal in sudden death, the only playoff overtime goal of Anze Kopitar's NHL career to this point, anyway. How about number 4 on the list of all-time great Kopitar moments? Again, we're combining a couple of dates, June the 22nd of 2016 and June the 29th of 2018. Those two dates are when Anze Kopitar became the first and so far only LA King to win the Selke Trophy as the NHL's top defensive forward. It should also be pointed out that he won those awards in the same era that he played with and against the man who's won that award more times than anyone in NHL history. That is Boston's Patrice Bergeron. No one's won the Selke Trophy more than 3 times. Bergeron won it 6 times. So not only was Anze Kopitar a 2-time winner, but he did it while competing against literally the guy who has won that award more times than anyone else in NHL history. Kopitar finished in the top 10 in voting for the Selke 12 times, including this past season when he was 8th in the voting. Kopitar also finished top 5 in the Selke Trophy voting 7 times. So clearly Anze Kopitar, as we said, a complete two-way player. His defensive game, what he did without the puck, just as important and just as impressive as what he did with the puck. The greatest player in Kings history and certainly the greatest two-way player in Kings history as well. Checking in at number 3, again, we are combining a couple of huge milestones here for Anze Kopitar. October 21st, 2023, Anze Kopitar became the Kings' all-time leader in games played. In a game against the Boston Bruins, he passed friend and teammate Dustin Brown with career game number 1,297. Kopitar is one of 5 players in Kings history to play over 1,000 NHL games with the Kings. That includes, of course, Brown, Drew Doughty, Dave Taylor, and Luc Robitaille. Kopitar will enter this coming season with 1,454 games played. He's currently 31st on the NHL's all-time games played list, behind only Brent Burns and Alexander Ovechkin as far as active NHL players with the most games played in their career. Also on December 3rd of 2023, in a 4-1 win over the Colorado Avalanche, Anze Kopitar passed Marcel Dion to become the LA Kings all-time assist leader. It was career assist number 758. It was on the go-ahead goal scored by Quentin Byfield. Kopitar is 3rd in career assists among active players in the NHL, only behind Sidney Crosby and Patrick Kane. And Kopitar will enter next season 28th on the NHL's all-time career assist list. Up next, we've got the top 2 moments in Anze Kopitar's career, and we don't even know exactly when they're going to happen. We'll give you the details on that next here on Locked on LA Kings, your team every day. All right, we here on the Locked On Networks have an important request of you. Locked On wants to hear from you. We've put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcast hopefully even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer questions about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcast.com, lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes a survey will be entered for a chance to win a $100 Amazon gift card. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. You can also find the link in our show notes, and there's also a QR code for those of you watching on YouTube. lockedonpodcast.com/survey. Thanks for helping us out. All right, we are wrapping up our countdown of the greatest moments in the career of LA Kings legend Anze Kopitar. And it might be a little cheesy, but the top 2 things haven't happened yet. One should happen later this season, and the other is to be determined. Number 2 on the list of great accomplishments by Anze Kopitar will be him becoming the LA Kings all-time leading scorer. Now, entering this season, he's 30 points behind Marcel Dion to become the all-time points leader. Now, Kopitar has averaged 67 points per season during his 19-year NHL career. So he had 67 points exactly last season. So as long as he stays healthy, there is a pretty good chance he's going to break the record somewhere around the halfway point of the season. Now, if the averages hold up, my guess would be that he'll get his 30th point sometime in late December, early January, if things go according to plan. Although this past season, he did pick up his 30th point on December 4th after a very hot start. Now, if you look at the Kings' schedule for late December, early January, it looks favorable that if that timeline kind of holds up, that Anze Kopitar would have a good shot of breaking the record on home ice. Now, in late December, there's a 2-week stretch. The final 2 weeks of December, the Kings play 3 of 4 games at home. And then the first 2 weeks of January, 4 straight home games. So again, if that holds up, if it's late December, early January for Kopitar to get his 30th point of the season, he will do it on home ice. Certainly hope that's the case. Would love for him to become the Kings' all-time leading scorer in front of the home fans so we can all celebrate it. I definitely will be out there for that as well. So again, looking forward to Anze Kopitar this coming season becoming the LA Kings' all-time leading scorer. And number one on the list of accomplishments for Anze Kopitar, as great as all of the many things that he will be honored with are going to be, for him personally, you'd have to say it is the holy grail for a hockey player. It's induction into the Hockey Hall of Fame. Now, there is a 3-year waiting period after a player's career comes to an end. So if this is Anze Kopitar's final season, I believe the earliest that he could be inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame is 2029. I've talked about this in previous episodes about how many LA Kings are in the Hall of Fame, in air quotes. And with all due respect to legends like Grant Fuhr, Terry Sawchuk, Billy Smith, Paul Coffey, Jerome McGinley, Jeremy Roenick, even Larry Robinson, to me, those guys are not LA Kings Hall of Famers, right? Grant Fuhr is an Oiler, Billy Smith an Islander, McGinley's a Flame, on and on. Larry Robinson's a Canadian. Those teams can claim those guys. I really don't think the Kings can claim them, even though, yes, they did play for the Kings, but they all played less than 200 games. Some of them even a lot less than that. So this is just me. I think if you want to claim a player as a Hall of Famer for your team, I think they have to have played at least 300 games in your uniform. So guys like Yari Curry would make the cut, Wayne Gretzky, Rogie Vachon, Rob Blake, of course, Marcel Dion, Luc Robitaille, all no doubt Hall of Famers for the LA Kings. And then one day, Jonathan Quick, Drew Doughty, and no doubt Anze Kopitar will be a Hall of Famer. Now, when you talk about a player's career, obviously we've talked about a lot of amazing things for Anze Kopitar. But if there was one controversy that sort of involved Anze Kopitar, I guess we would have to mention that, right? If we were going to really be fair about everything, then you would have to mention this. And it happened on June 16th of 2016 when Anze Kopitar became the captain of the LA Kings. And normally that would be a date that would be on the list of great accomplishments. Unfortunately, though, as you probably well know, even though Anze Kopitar was very well deserving of being the captain of the LA Kings as their best player, the Kings already had a captain who I thought was in very good standing. And that was, of course, Dustin Brown. He had worn the C on his sweater for 8 seasons. He had won 2 Stanley Cups, the first ever player to hoist the Stanley Cup over his head as a member of the LA Kings, of course. And look, I'm a huge Dustin Brown fan. I'm a huge Anze Kopitar fan. So it was bizarre. It was strange, feelings about it. Even I'm sure between Dustin Brown and Anze Kopitar, it was an odd thing to do. I still to this day don't agree with it. I still don't understand why it happened. Yes, Anze Kopitar was the best player on the roster and Dustin Brown wasn't, but that doesn't, it's not automatic that just because you're the best player on a team that you wear the C, especially for somebody who had worn it well, I thought, in Dustin Brown. So Dean Lombardi, the then GM at the time, head coach Daryl Sutter at the time, made the decision to take the C off Dustin Brown's sweater, give it to Anze Kopitar. I guess Kopitar could have said no and refused to take it. Maybe that would have made it, though, an even bigger controversy. I don't know. It wasn't handled well. I think we could probably all agree on that, even if maybe you thought Kopitar should have been the captain. It was just a weird, unnecessary thing, in my opinion. But thankfully for the Kings, Brown and Kopitar were very good friends. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Brown told Kopitar, you have my blessing to do this. There's no hard feelings between us. Although clearly for Dustin Brown, it was very much a disappointment for him. He was not shy about expressing that, and I think we could all understand that. So if there was one sort of controversy involving Anze Kopitar, I guess you'd have to mention that. Although, like I said, it wasn't anything that really he did. He said yes, I guess, to taking the C. And to his credit, he's worn that C on his sweater, in my opinion, very, very well. I know some people out there think he's not a great captain, I guess because he's not fiery. I think that has nothing to do with it. I think it's about being the captain is about leadership and respect. And I don't have any doubt that the people who wear that King sweater absolutely respect Anze Kopitar. I don't know how much he says things, but I am sure that when he does say things, that the players listen to what he has to say and take it to heart. I've never believed you have to be some rah-rah in your face kind of guy to be a good captain. I just don't believe that. So I think Anze Kopitar has been a very good captain for the LA Kings. But again, if there's one, I don't want to even know if you call it a blemish, but if there's one sort of controversy involving Anze Kopitar, that's it. And like I said, it wasn't even really on him. So it's been a wonderful career for Anze Kopitar. It's not over yet. But again, as I've said, if this is the last season of Anze Kopitar, as Kings fans, we need to embrace it. We need to enjoy it. And we need to respect the career that he has had. I hope it's not the last season, but it's possible. We shall see. But Anze Kopitar, there's no doubt. Whether you think he's the greatest king of all time like me, or if you just think he's one of the greatest kings of all time, it's been an amazing career, and he's been an amazing, amazing LA King. We have been very lucky to have Anze Kopitar on this team. All right, for you everydayers, those who listen to watch Locked On LA Kings every day, we will, of course, have our weekly fan feedback show at the end of the week, give you a chance to chime in on what you think about Anze Kopitar's career. If you have any moments you would like to share or chime in on anything I had to say, we welcome your comments and questions. LockedOnEddie@gmail.com is the email address. EDDIE, that's how you spell Eddie. And if you're watching on YouTube, please post your comments in the comment section. We always appreciate that. We'd love you to stay connected with the show on social media, X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We are at Locked On LA Kings. I'm Eddie Garcia. Thank you, as always, for listening and watching this episode of Locked On LA Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you next time. And as always, go Kings, go.